USPAP page 172, Advisory Opinion 37, AO-37. This communication by the Appraisal Standards Board, ASB, does not establish new standards or interpret existing standards. Advisory opinions are issued to illustrate the applicability of appraisal standards in specific situations and to offer advice from the ASB for the resolution of appraisal issues and problems. Subject: computer-assisted valuation tools. Application: real property. The issue: appraisers rely upon market data as the basis for their opinions and conclusions. This data is used by appraisers to analyze and report on market trend information. For instance, median sale prices, rent trends, marketing time, etc., or the impact different features have on their subject's value. For instance, appropriate adjustments. Appraisers have access to technology that enables them to automate some aspects of the appraisal process. Regression analysis is a common example, but there are others as well. These tools generate information that once had to be calculated by hand. The information generated by this technology can enable appraisers to produce appraisals and appraisal reviews with greater credibility. But its misuse can have the opposite effect. What steps should an appraiser take to comply with USPAP when using information generated by these types of resources? Background: this advisory opinion addresses an appraiser's obligations when relying upon adjustments, trend analysis, or other information generated by software or various online services. Two such examples of these tools are regression analysis tools. A regression analysis tool is a computer software program that analyzes data using an automated process. It is a statistical process used for determining relationships among variables. For example, an appraiser may wish to determine if the market recognizes a relationship between the size of a property and its price per square foot. Multiple listing services. These services publish listings of properties for sale in a given marketplace. Typically, these services have a function that can provide subscribers with an analysis of past sale trends, such as average prices, sales volume, days on market, etc. Automated valuation models, AVMs, and discounted cash flow analysis, DCF, are addressed separately in other advisory opinions, AO-18 and AO-33, respectively. The output of an AVM or DCF may become a basis for appraisal or appraisal review if the appraiser believes the output to be credible for use in a specific assignment. The output of computer-assisted valuation tools are most often used as analytical tools within one or more approaches to value. Standalone software or various online services can be useful tools that allow appraisers to enhance their appraisals. Some residential lenders are increasingly requiring appraisers to provide additional support for their adjustments. In the past, these forms of analysis would have been prohibitively difficult for an appraiser to provide in the normal course of business. Appraisers sometimes meet this request by providing a regression analysis or a software-generated matched pair analysis. There are software packages available to appraisers that make this relatively simple. Some residential form software vendors include these functions as an integral part of their product. Many modern multiple listing services now have integrated analytical tools to accommodate the needs of their appraiser members. Some appraisers create their own tools using commercially available spreadsheet software. Advice from the ASB on the issue. Relevant USPAP and advisory references. The conduct section of the ethics rule states, in part, an appraiser must not communicate assignment results with the intent to mislead or to defraud. An appraiser must not use or communicate a report or assignment results known by the appraiser to be misleading or fraudulent. The record-keeping rule states, in part, that the work file must include all other data, information, and documentation necessary to support the appraiser's opinions and conclusions and to show compliance with USPAP, or references to the locations of such other data, information, and documentation. Page 173. The competency rule states, in part, competency requires, number one, the ability to properly identify the problem to be addressed. Number two, the knowledge and experience to complete the assignment competently. And number three, recognition of and compliance with laws and regulations that apply to the appraiser or to the assignment. The comment to the competency rule states in part, competency may apply to factors such as, but not limited to, an appraiser's familiarity with a specific type of property or asset, a market, a geographic area, an intended use, specific laws and regulations, or an analytical method. The scope of work rule includes: the scope of work must include the research and analysis that are necessary to develop credible assignment results. Appraisers have broad flexibility and significant responsibility in determining the appropriate scope of work for an appraisal or appraisal review assignment. An appraiser must be prepared to demonstrate that the scope of work is sufficient to produce credible assignment results. An appraiser must not allow the intended use of an assignment or a client's objectives to cause the assignment results to be biased. Standards Rule 1-1A. An appraiser must be aware of, understand, and correctly employ those recognized methods and techniques that are necessary to produce a credible appraisal. Standards Rule 1-1B. An appraiser must not commit a substantial error of omission or commission that significantly affects an appraisal. Standards Rule 1-1C. An appraiser must not render appraisal services in a careless or negligent manner, such as making a series of errors that, although individually might not significantly affect the results of an appraisal, in the aggregate affect the credibility of those results. Standards Rule 1-6A. An appraiser must reconcile the quality and quantity of data available and analyzed within the approaches used. Standards Rule 1-6B. An appraiser must reconcile the applicability and relevance of the approaches, methods, and techniques used to arrive at the value conclusions. Standard 2. In reporting the results of a real property appraisal, an appraiser must communicate each analysis, opinion, and conclusion in a manner that is not misleading. Standards 3 and 4. In developing an appraisal review, an appraiser must identify the problem to be solved, determine the scope of work necessary to solve the problem, and correctly complete research and analysis necessary to produce a credible appraisal review. In reporting the results of an appraisal review assignment, an appraiser must communicate each analysis, opinion, and conclusion in a manner that is not misleading. Advisory Opinion 18. Use of an automated valuation model. Advisory Opinion 33. Discounted cash flow analysis. Competency. The competency rule specifically states that competency may apply to an analytical method. Technology that performs statistical analysis is simple to use, but still requires competence. When using computer-assisted valuation tools in an appraisal or appraisal review assignment, an appraiser should have a basic understanding of how it analyzes data to determine whether the computer-assisted valuation tool measures and reflects market activity for the property that is being analyzed. The appraiser does not need to know or be able to explain the tool's algorithm or the intricacies of its statistical or mathematical formulae. However, the appraiser should be able to describe the overall process and verify that the computer-assisted valuation tool is consistent in producing results that accurately reflect prevailing market behavior for the property that is being analyzed. For example, a calculation of both the mean, which means average, and median of a given data sometimes yield different results. Either may be appropriate for use, but it is the appraiser's responsibility to make that determination. Proper application of these results must also be consistent. For example, it would not be appropriate to compare the mean sale price of an office space in one year to the median sale price of an office space from a different year. Likewise, an appraiser should not employ terminology, for instance, the standard deviation, coefficient of variation, etc., without understanding what the terminology means.